Hi everyone, Zach here, and welcome to video 7 in this remaster series on making an RTS game in Unreal Engine 5. In this video, we'll finish out our camera movement and we'll focus primarily on our boundaries, but we will add in features like a movement speed modifier and some other little things. This video and this series have been brought to you by Patreon sponsors, and if you want to help the channel out, all you have to do is hit that like button, and if you want to go a little bit further, hit the subscribe button as well. Both of those help this channel immensely. Or comment below. And if you want to take your support just a bit further than that, consider becoming a Patreon sponsor. Patreon sponsors at upper tiers get instant access to all completed and ongoing projects that I run on YouTube. At other tiers, you get access once the project is completed. Okay, open up your project and we'll make a start. Okay, so here we are back inside of the editor. The first thing we want to do is we want to head over to our project settings. So edit, project settings, and in here, we're gonna go to collision, and we're going to add a new object channel, and the default will be block, and this channel will be called map boundaries. Go ahead and accept, and then open up your presets, and we're gonna add a new preset in, and this will be called camera pawn. And camera pawn, what we're going to do for that is we are going to do collision enabled, query and physics. We will be world dynamic, and this will be the collision profile for the player camera. And for now, we're going to set everything to ignore, but in reality, map boundaries is going to be blocked. Just hit accept, and there we go. So once again, everything but map boundaries is ignore. Okay. So once that's done, let's just go over to our camera, and in our camera, let's go to our class settings. Sorry, I lied. So what we're gonna do is go to our collision sphere, go to your collision settings, and in here where it's overlap all dynamic, we're gonna change this to camera pawn. And there we go. Let's just make sure that we didn't break anything. So compile, hit play. We're not falling through the map, and let's find that little divot. There we go. We're still moving into it nicely. Let's find the hill or mountain. We're already on it. There we go. And we can see that it's not causing any issues. Okay, so that's good. That's that part taken care of. The next bit we need to do is actually add in our blocking volumes. So for our blocking volumes, we're going to be a bit simpler than we were in the original tutorial series. We're just going to go here. We're going to type in blocking, and then we have a blocking volume. We're just going to drag that onto the map. I don't care really where it's at right now. What I want to do is I want to go to our blocking volume, and in our blocking volume, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find our collision settings. So that appears to be up here, collision settings, and then I'm going to change this from our preset invisible wall to custom. And in custom, well, everything is set up correctly. So it's collision enabled. We want visibility to be ignore. We want camera to be block, landscape to be ignore, and everything else to be block. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go to my top view. And in my top view, there is my collision box. Let's just change this from wireframe so we can see what we're looking at. You can see the mountains over there, the divot there. Just going to scale this in the X and Y. And I don't really care if I'm not covering the entire map, or if I am, it doesn't really matter for this map. This is a test map. But there, we have some space on either side. And then I'm going to duplicate this by holding down the Alt key and clicking there. There we go. I'm going to select both blocking volumes now. I'm going to hold down the Alt key again. And then I'm going to hit the spacebar once, and I'm going to rotate these 90 degrees. And I'm just going to move them here and here. Again, it doesn't need to be a perfect square or anything. It just needs to be enough that we know, hey, we're blocked. Okay. Now, to make things a little bit easier on myself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a few markers. So I'm just going to go here, I'm going to type in box, and I'm going to type in cube instead, actually. And there we go, there's a cube. And I'm just going to put this cube, I'm going to select the cube again. I'm just going to move it to this side, and I am going to then go to perspective. And I can always see an issue with the map boundaries, which I'm glad I've done this, which is they're not high enough. There we go. So I'm just going to raise this to the ground, and I'm going to hit end, and I'm going to scale this so I know what I'm looking for. and hit end. And I'm just going to push it out farther away so I know I'm not hitting that. Then I'm going to take the blocking volumes and I'm going to go to my scale mode. And I'm just going to scale these up in the Z-axis so that I can't accidentally jump over it somehow. Again, you don't need to be too careful about this. You just need to make sure they work on your actual use maps, and yes, you will want to check. So now I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to go towards the end of the map there. All right, so I've clipped through it because there's that wall. So something is going on where I'm not going through it correctly. Well, let's go to our camera pawn, and there's our map boundaries. We are block on that like we should be. Okay, so why are we not colliding? So we're not colliding because we skipped one very simple thing to do. And sorry if it's jumped a bit. So you want to go back to the map, and you want to select all your blocking volumes, and under object type, make sure it says map boundaries, then hit play. And I'm going to zoom out a bit, and I'm going to move towards that wall. Oh, I'm stuck. Okay, let's find where that wall is. Okay, I'm going the wrong direction. Okay, the wall might be too far away for us to see it, but I am definitely stuck. I have the mouse at the top of the screen. I'm going to move the mouse down so you can see edge scrolls working. Edge scrolls working. I'm not moving the mouse. I've hit the boundary. So we know our boundaries are working. Oh, that's where it's at. Cool. So let's just do that again. Hit play. There we go. I've hit the boundary. I'm going to hit F8 so I can eject. And our little bit there is to the right. So I'm going to hit F8 again. And I'm going to move this way. Let's hit F8. And I've gone past it. So we can tell that I'm not able to see the wall because it's too far away from the boundary. But we can tell that we've hit the boundary. In case you don't believe me, there, I'll move the wall closer. We'll hit play one more time. And there's that boundary again. So make sure we can see that on the screen. Back up a bit. Forward a bit. I'm also hitting W. Nothing's happening. D, A, S, W. So our map boundary is working. I'm just going to delete that wall. We don't actually need it. Okay. So one of the things you might want to do, by the way, is change the camera height, add in that rotation stuff I talked about. That rotation stuff, by the way, will make things easier to see when you're zoomed in. But the next thing we want to do is just some little bits of cleanup. So we want to actually go back to our project settings. We are going to go to our input this time. And in input, what we want to do is we want to add in one more input. And this input will be called speed modifier. And we will have two buttons for it. One will be left shift. And the other one will be right shift. All right, go to your player controller. And in your player controller, and this is where I move this down, we're going to have our speed modifier. And all we're going to do here is change our speed in our speed modifier between 1 and 2. That's all this really is doing. So for that, let's go to our component, which I opened when I was checking that bug. Sorry about that. I should have pointed that out. And we're going to create two new functions. And one of them will be set default movement speed, just so, because it's private, just in case we want to change it. This is the function you'll use to change the default movement speed. All you're going to do is pass that into there and do a return off of it. There we go. That was fairly simple, right? And we're going to put this in movement settings, and then we are going to duplicate that one. Forgot that we can't duplicate the same way. Oh, it's Control D now. All right, this will be set speed modifier. So Control D is the new duplicate key, by the way, which makes a little bit more sense than Control W. So our set movement modifier, or set speed modifier, what we're going to do is we're going to delete that, and then we're going to do, it is a name here, modifier amount, and we're going to take our movement speed modifier and plug it in. Plug that into there, put that into the return, compile. I just want to see what I've named, put the right one in there, And I'm going to leave that as is. Back to the player controller. Let's duplicate this with Control D. And then we will do set movement speed modifier. Now I'm going to go back to the component really quickly, and I'm going to mark that as private just so we don't have access to it elsewhere. All right, I'm going to plug that into the pressed, and I'm going to plug this into the released. So I've duplicated it with Control D again, plug that into there. On the pressed, I am going to set my movement speed to 2. And on the released, I am going to set it to 1. All right, so this is our WADS movement. This is our tall movement speed modifier. And lastly, this is our edge scroll. So these are our 3 movement events. And these down here are camera related. So we have our zoom events, and then we have our pan events, and then we have our camera reset, which I'm just going to move out of the way for a moment. No idea why that happened, but okay. We'll be testing these all in just a moment anyway, just to make sure everything is working. If you want to go ahead and test it now while I organize, go for it. If you want to stay around to see how I organize, I am literally done. That's all I was doing. Okay, so I'm just going to Control S save, compile, make sure I hit save all, and now I'm going to hit play. So our basic WADS is working. Our edge scrolls seem to be working. Our camera rotates. Our camera zooms out. Our R works. Our return to rotation works. Our return to zoom works by itself. We still have that. And now I'm going to hit shift. I'm going to release shift, and you notice it slows down. Likewise, there we are, we're faster. Same with edge scroll. There we are, we're much faster. And by the way, I keep stopping because I hit the boundary. I've hit the boundary again. And our camera, our basic camera is set up. Yes, you could do more, like I said, with the rotation, the zoom amount. If you want to change how much the zoom is, come into here and change that max and that min to whatever you want it to be. Remember, the min represents our zoomed in and the max represents our zoomed out. The X value should always remain 0 and 1. But that takes us through all of section 1 in terms of setting up our profiles, our camera, our components for it, and we will be moving on to our world settings in the next section, focused on game time and setting up our game clock. Okay, if you've enjoyed this series so far, make sure to hit that subscribe and notify icon so you hear when the next video is released. And also make sure to hit that like button, because both really do help the channel out. And if you can, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you appreciate or don't, what you want to see in this series, what you're confused by. And if you're not a member of our Discord community, remember to join our community to get additional support. And if you want to support this channel a bit more than I've already mentioned, consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. As I've said time and time again, Patreon supporters at upper tiers get instant access to all completed and ongoing projects, and at other tiers, Patreon supporters get access to completed projects. I look forward to seeing you in the next section of this tutorial, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.